2 hours, Denver election workers will be back at work to finish counting ballots in the mayoral election. Still about 65,000 ballots to be counted. 9 News reporter Anusha Roy continues our election coverage now. Hey, Anusha.
Hey, Corey. Yeah, we actually have election expert Alton Dillard with us. We're so happy to have you in this morning. You have been with the clerk and recorder's office for 17 years before retiring in December. So congratulations for that. Okay, I know you've been watching this very closely. This was kind of a jaw-dropping mayoral race with a number of people who are running. What do you think when you look at the voter turnout yesterday? It was about 38%. What does that tell you about this election? Was it surprising? Was it not?
It really wasn't, because that's sort of the trend line here in Denver, that voters have a tendency to vote late. So of course it doesn't seem to have the same amount of bounce as, say, a presidential election, but to me that's something that's problematic. People fought and died for the right to vote, and so you want to see people participating. So what is going to be very interesting with those 65,000 ballots is where are they from. A lot of those are going to be from far northeast Denver, Montbello, Green Valley Ranch area, Martin Luther King corridor. So what that effect may have on other races is going to be interesting to see.
And how much can, we've got the preliminary results, right, from the last count. We've got 65,000 left. Can that really change the results of some of these races? Yeah,
some of the races, it could definitely have an effect, because like using city council at large for an example, that's a top two. There's no runoff. So whoever the top two vote getters are, they win. And so watching that, and there are also some other council races where it may determine whether those go to runoff or not. Now, as far as the mayoral, that is a pretty sizable gap. I have seen numbers swing overnight a couple times. One was a state house race a few cycles ago, and another one was a school board race that swung overnight. That's a big margin, but 65,000 is a lot of ballots, so a lot of people are going to have eyes out for that 2 p.m. report.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're all looking forward to seeing what we learn from that. For folks who are saying, okay, so when do we know for sure who is going to be in the runoff for mayor? When would you expect us to know that for sure?
For sure, it probably should be today. One of the things that we always remind people, not trying to sound all Florida 2000 here, but it does also, you have to factor in military and overseas ballots, and there's also an 8-day post-election window where you can cure ballots. So this is really going to come down to ground game, who was on the doors. I know there are certain candidates on TV. I know there are certain candidates who had more social media-based campaigns, but for this type of local election, it's going to be who was on the doors energizing their base, especially like we've talked about with most of the race being Democrats with one Republican, but people who were in essential agreement on a ton of the issues. So the separation is probably going to really start being evident once we get to the runoff.
We were almost out of time, but I just wanted to get to the idea of having 16, 17 candidates on the ballot. I mean, is there a conversation to be had about the threshold to be able to run for mayor?
Yes, definitely. You need to have more than 300 signatures to run for citywide office in a city the size of Denver. We have more than 715,000 people here, so that's something that needs to be looked at. I also know there's a discussion about ranked choice and approval voting, but you still be ranking or approving 16 or 17 people, so I think that it starts with the signature threshold.
Thank you so much. Your perspective is always so valuable. We appreciate it.
Thank you.